Hi, my name is Kelly Toy, and I'm talking about eutrophication in water bodies. So here's a shot of an aerial view of a lake, and as you can see, there's scum, green scum, and this is eutrophication, and it's spreading worldwide. So I'm going to talk about what eutrophication is, experiments that have been conducted on how to manage it, the nitrogen or phosphorus control debate on which one controls eutrophication, a case study of the Baltic Sea, and recommendations. So eutrophication is the degradation of water bodies from over-fertilization of nitrogen and phosphorus nutrients. And that creates excess algal blooms and consequently oxygen and habitat depletion. So nitrogen and phosphorus comes from fertilizers in agriculture that can be entering into water streams through runoff and wastewater and industrial discharges. So basically the main point of the eutrophication process is that it depletes oxygen in water, which is called anoxia, and consequently fish and wildlife die. So why does eutrophication matter? Pretty much because at that point the dead zones, which is no oxygen, depletes fish and wildlife, and that decreases biodiversity. It's also aesthetically unpleasing, like as you tell, drumheller cotton is really green and no one likes to see that. And it's an economic detriment to industries that rely on fishing and water quality. So experiments have been performed in the 1970s when eutrophication was really big. And this was a famous experiment by Schindler in Canada, and he took nitrogen and phosphorus excess in one part of the lake and put it in, and then also nitrogen in excess in another part of the lake. And as you can see, the part with phosphorus inputs became eutrophic. And so that tells us that phosphorus controls eutrophication. And so in a response, the government banned phosphorus in detergents, and also they ramped up phosphorus removal in wastewater treatment plants. So basically since the 1970s, the lakes improved dramatically, and eutrophication, however, increased in estuaries. And that's because nitrogen pollution grew since the 1970s, since no one was controlling it. So here's just a picture of all the dead zones in estuaries, so it's a big problem for our estuaries. So there's a debate on nitrogen or phosphorus control, because basically phosphorus, they limited that, but estuaries, eutrophication estuaries began to increase. But however, if you reduce nitrogen, this has also shown that N-fixing cyanobacteria, which is even worse than algal blooms, can dominate and be a worse problem for eutrophication. So pretty much there's expert limnologists are still debating on how to control it, but the bottom line is each body of water is pretty condition specific. So the Baltic Sea case study. The Baltic Sea is in northern Europe, and it's surrounded by 9 countries. So it's a low salinity estuary. And right now hypoxia is growing, and so all these countries want to eliminate eutrophication. So they have a dual nutrient reduction strategy, and their abatement plan is that they're going to reduce nitrogen and phosphorus, and that's going to cost $4 billion a year. So this is really high societal stakes because it's a lot of money, and the Swedish Department of Agriculture estimates that a large part of their agriculture will be shut down if they want to reach the target nitrogen removal that they have for that abatement plan. So basically, there's many countries that are affected, so each country wants an input on how to control this. And my recommendations are that all benefits of nitrogen and phosphorus, pretty much dual nitrogen and phosphorus removal, need to be analyzed, and there needs to be clear evidence that is actually going to help eutrophication improve before you implement something that's so expensive. And also, like, another point of this is nitrogen abatement is very expensive, and it could, in fact, make the quality of the water even worse from cyanobacteria. So pretty much do not install nitrogen technologies just yet, and continue to remove nitrogen and phosphorus at the source. And that can be done by using less fertilizers, installing wetlands and vegetative buffers for less runoff, and just getting better agricultural practices. So in conclusion, eutrophication is destroying our aquatic ecosystems, and there's a big debate on how to manage nitrogen and phosphorus, so we still do not know that. But because we don't know that, nitrogen removal is too risky to be implemented right now because it has too large of an impact on societies. Thank you very much.